All right, welcome everybody. My name is Nick, KN6DAL. You are listening and watching the 2 Meter Crew Anti-Net tonight. Want to thank everybody for coming in. I'm going to let this drop, make sure I got it. All right, first and foremost, I want to thank the owners and supporters of all of the different digital connections and the repeaters that are in use tonight. Including the W6VVR, the Vaca Valley Radio Club, Contra Costa Fusion Group, the Freestar Network, and WG5EEK. Each and every one of those groups and people have put a ton of work into making this all happen, so thank you very much. And as always, we want to make sure you know that if you need to clear the frequency for any priority traffic, all you need to do is say break, break, and your call sign, and we will clear the frequency. At this time, I'm going to see if there's any priority or emergency traffic. All right, didn't hear anything there. The 2 Meter Crew is not an actual club. We're just a group of hams that are learning and enjoying all things ham related. There's no dues or fees to be a 2 Meter Crew member. If you're interested in being a part of the 2 Meter Crew, you can join our Facebook website at 2MC or join our Discord. There's a link in the description for Discord, and we'll post that in the chat throughout the night for those that are interested. Additionally, this is a completely open net, so anybody is welcome and encouraged to join. Anybody that wants to chime in is welcome to come in and say hi. You don't have to necessarily go with the topic. You can talk about anything you want. We love to have people come on the air, so we encourage you to join in and participate. The 2 Meter Crew Anti-Net meets every Wednesday at 7 o'clock on the W6VVR repeater. It's a 145.470 megahertz with a negative offset of 600 kilohertz and a PL tone of 127.3. In addition to that, there are multiple digital connections available. You can reach us on Echolink through WG5EEK-L and W6VVR-R. You can also reach us on All-Star through All-Star node number 51094, DMR Talk Group 3149964, YSF Reflector 24033, and through the Contra Costa repeater system, which is YSF Reflector number 80280 and Wires X Room 80280. Also, we're aired over our Freestar All-Star links, which is available through 2195 and also All-Star link 53375. That's a mouthful. Again, this is Nick, KN6DAL. And last but not least, we are also streaming live on YouTube at Northwest Ham Shack. If you enjoy seeing the net every week and you'd like to subscribe, we appreciate that. Before we get into our topic, I want to take just a minute and see if there's anyone out there that is new to ham radio, just got their license, or upgraded their license over the last week. If that's you, come on in now and tell us. All right, we'll check back in for anybody that that didn't get a chance to speak up if they did upgrade their call or are a new licensee. We definitely want to make room for you if you're brand new to ham radio and you're just now checking in, or if you're upgrading your license. We want to hear about it. So if that fits you, definitely come in and say hi. All right. So for tonight's topic, we're going to kind of keep it light and just go through a couple of things related to the history of radio and the history of ham radio. So you just sit back and relax. I'm going to talk a little bit and go over a couple of timelines, and then we'll open it up and see if anybody has anything to add or wants to jump in and maybe correct any misinformation that I had. Definitely an amateur, so just throwing out the information for those of you that may be interested, and then we'll see what else is going on. So to start it off, we're gonna go way back. We're gonna go back to like the dawn of time, right? How did people communicate? So telecommunications is the ability to send information over long distances, and it's the way we communicate with each other, whether we're down the street or across the world. Telecommunications have been around since the earliest days of humanity. Now, back in prehistoric times, like our way ancestors, people used to communicate through much simpler means than like what we're doing right now. They would options to send information to other groups of people were limited, so they'd use things like smoke signals, drums, horns, and different other ways of signaling danger and stuff, and then other ways to guide people to their destination. They didn't have the stuff that we have today. I'm going to let this drop. And then as we move through the timeline, in the 6th century BC, kings communicated with neighboring cities using messengers. So they actually utilized people to get information from place to place. Moving forward even more, then they started using animals, things like pigeons, birds, to fly information from one place to another to communicate. In the 4th century BC, semaphores, signaling devices with movable parts, were once used as a means of communicating. One type of semaphore used a container of water within which a rod was a rod that contained symbols. The water could be drained down to a certain point on the rod, revealing the code that the receiver would then interpret. And if we move forward to the 15th century, this is where we started to see flags. Flag semaphores are used as a visual type of telegraphy. Waving flags in certain positions represented specific sets of codes, and flags were often used to communicate between marine vessels. All right, this might bring back some memories for some of you. In 1672, the first acoustic mechanical telephones, otherwise known as string phones, communicated over long distances through the vibrations of a wire. Robert Hooke developed the first acoustic phone for transmitting music through an extended string connected to 2 cylinders. It's not wanting to key up. There we go. All right. Moving forward to 1790, semaphore lines used visual signals to communicate messages. Pivoting shutters located in towers and in certain fixed positions could be used to transmit messages one letter at a time. By 1867, signal lamps would use similar systems to Morse code to send messages to others. These lamps would send short or long dashes of light to convey information. Philip Column of the British Royal Navy was the first person to put this type of code system into place. In 1877, Thomas Edison worked on 2 popular inventions, the telephone and the telegraph. In 1877, he got the idea that one could speak into a machine and have the words recorded and played back. He had one of those machines built to his specifications, and the acoustic phonograph was born. The recording device became popular and was used by for many purposes, like taking dictation and recording music. And in 1838, Samuel Morse created the telegraph to send electrical pulses over a wire connecting 2 stations together, sending a message between them. The telegraph used his Morse code to communicate. A line was eventually laid from the U.S. to Europe, allowing messages to be sent across the Atlantic Ocean much faster than traditional methods at that time. And in 1858, the first cable, I already read that, sorry. Alexander Graham Bell was the inventor of the first telephone in 1876, although other devices like it were also created at around the same time by Elijah Gray. Bell and Gray fought a legal battle over the rights to the phone, and Bell won. Bell created it with the idea that one could send their voice through an electric cable to another person on another similar device. He partnered with Thomas Watson to help his vision get created. Now, this is where it kind of gets into being more tightly related to our hobby. In 1893, the ability to transmit electric signals without the use of any wires is called wireless telegraphy. Nikola Tesla invented the first wireless telegraphy system, which used radio waves instead of wires. In 1893, I'm going to butcher his first name because I can never say it right. Marconi also invented a similar wireless system at around the same time. And Marconi ultimately made more money from his invention due to the connections that his family had. In 1896, the invention of the radio came about because of the work of many inventors in the areas of electromagnetism and wireless telegraphy. Marconi built the first commercially successful wireless telegraphy machine. His device used Hertzian waves invented by Hendrik Rudolf Hertz to transmit signals over long distances. Improvements on his machine over the years made it into the radios that Americans enjoy and listen to news and music on today. And in 1885, telephone lines were laid for a phone system in New York City. Over many years, the lines kept extending farther west until the transatlantic system was finally completed in 1914. It was at that point that Theodore Vail, the president of AT&T at the time, made a test call. Then the first personal call was made on the transatlantic line by Bell to his assistant Watson. The distance between them was 3,400 miles. In 1927, many inventors in the 1800s had ideas to create a new system we now call television. Nothing came from their visions until 1927, when a young man named Philo T. Farnsworth brought his vision of using radio waves to project an image onto a screen to life. He demonstrated his television system to the media, but his first public demonstration didn't come until the 1930s. And in 1927, the first intercontinental call was placed by Sir Evelyn Murray of the UK from Walter S. Gifford of the US. The device that made it possible was the radio telephone. This machine used radio waves to transmit audio messages to a specific destination. I'm going to jump over here, and one fun fact that I found researching some of this stuff was in World War I, by 1910, there were thousands of amateurs on the air across the world. In 1917, however, the advent of World War I brought an end to what had become amateur radio until after the war, when operators could resume on-the-air activities. And in the early days of radio, commercial, government, and amateur stations all shared the same radio spectrum, using spectrum hogging spark gap transmissions to send Morse code. Essentially, amateurs were those who were not professional operators, staffing commercial and government stations. There was so much interference in those early days that the government stepped in to assign specific bands to each type of radio user in 1912. At the time, amateurs were pushed to frequencies higher than 1.5 megahertz, which were considered worthless for long-distance use. While the start of the regulation of amateurs who began using government-issued call signs in 1913, there was a slight decline in activity. However, it picked up again, and there were as many as 6,000 licensed hams by 1917. However, World War I kept hams off the air well after the war until the late 1919, because the Navy refused to relinquish control of the radio operations in the United States. The ban was only lifted after amateurs put pressure on Congress to allow them back on the air. In 1923, the first transatlantic contact, we already discussed that on the other page, but that was where they made their first transatlantic contact. In the 1930s, we saw the end of those wideband spark gap transmitters, as tubes allowed hams to operate Morse code over CW on specific allocated frequencies. Some hams started experimenting with transmitting voice over the airwaves too during the decade. While single sideband operation was generating minor interest in the 1930s, it wasn't until 1947 when single sideband experiments were carried out on ham HF frequencies. And then, due to the advent of World War II, we saw amateur activities halted in Europe as well as Canada. In 1940, the U.S. government issued an order prohibiting U.S. hams from communicating with any foreign stations, and they were banished to operations above 56 megahertz. In the 1950s, the old Class A, B, and C amateur license were renamed Advanced, General, and Conditional, while the Federal Communications Commission created even more new classes, Novice, Technician, and Extra. Novice licenses were issued for 1 year and could not be renewed, and offered operation on 2 HF band segments as well as voice on 2 meters. Those early technicians' licenses were restricted above 220 megahertz. Novices and techs were required to take Morse code tests of 5 words per minute, while other classes required a code proficiency of 13 words a minute. More than 15 years before man was to walk on the moon, Ross Bateman, W4AO, and Bill Smith, W3GKP, bounced 2-meter signals off the moon from a station in Virginia in 1953. And this was the first time that moon bounce had ever been initiated. The 1960s were significant in the amateur radio history because of the development and use of Oscar orbiting satellite carrying amateur radio satellites for space communications, as well as the beginning interest in FM repeaters. However, repeaters weren't cemented into amateur operations until their expansion in the 1970s, primarily on 2 meters and some on 440. When the FCC told commercial licenses that their bandwidth for operation was being tightened up, the market opened up for hams to acquire outdated commercial repeaters for retooling on the 2 meter and 440 megahertz band. In addition, hams gained new privileges in 1979 when the 10, 18, and 24 megahertz bands opened up for use. The early 1980s not only saw the rise in personal computing, but what it brought for amateur radio. The FCC approved the use of ASC2 signals on ham bands and gave way to packet communications, or basically keyboard-to-keyboard communications over amateur frequencies. And in 1983, astronaut Owen Garriott, W5LFL, communicated with hundreds of hams while aboard the space shuttle high above the Earth. Since then, almost every shuttle crew has included licensed amateurs who have spent time on the air and space. In 1984, the Volunteer Examiner Coordinator Program was initiated to allow hams to take exams in their own communities rather than drive to the FCC offices for anything other than a novice license. In 1991 saw one of the biggest changes in amateur radio when the FCC agreed with the American Radio Relay League and decided to create a new no-code technician class license that eliminated the need to demonstrate Morse code proficiency. The change swelled the amateur ranks, resulting in more than 700,000 licensed hams in the United States before the start of the new millennium. Because the only difference between techs and generals was that generals had Morse proficiency at 13 words per minute, technician class licensees who took a 5-word per minute Morse code test could obtain novice HF privileges, giving rise to yet another class of hams called Technician Plus. Those Tech Plus licenses later were eligible to obtain general class licenses in the 2000s. Tech Plus licensees eventually outnumbered novices. In 2000, however, the FCC reduced the classes of ham radio licensees from 6 to 3, Technician, General, and Extra, which is what we have today. Those with advanced, Tech Plus, and novice licenses were allowed to renew their licenses even today. However, no new such licenses have been issued since then. Also, the Morse requirement was streamlined, reducing the code speed for extra licensees from 20 words per minute to 5 words per minute, and from 13 to 5 words for general. Now we're getting into more modern time stuff, so that means we're almost done. In more recent times, hams were used for disaster relief, help after the September 11th terrorist attacks in 2001 and Hurricane Katrina in Louisiana in 2005. In 2017, the American National Red Cross assembled a team of 50 hams who traveled to Puerto Rico after the island territory was devastated by Hurricane Maria in an effort to reestablish communication networks. In an effort to get more hams licensed and on the air, Ham Radio Prep started operation in 2018 with a new concept. The unique online study system established by HRP allows persons to use videos to learn the tenets of amateur radio in an easier to follow system. Today, amateurs keep on the cutting edge of technology by transmitting signals that can be seen on televisions or by using the extensive worldwide network of digital mobile radio, allowing hams to communicate with one another anywhere in the world with simply a handheld digital transceiver. The one thing that remains, however, is that the amateur radio service remains as much of an experimental service as it did in its former days. And that's the end of my spiel. I thought that some of the stuff that I read was pretty interesting. I've always kind of enjoyed the history of different hobbies that I've followed. And one of the things that it brings to mind for me is how do we keep the hobby relevant for everybody? Because if you look back through the scope of all of the different things that we've done and been involved with as a hobby since it started, it's changed and it's grown and it's kind of done that organically. And we, as a group of operators, have to continue to grow and change with the times to make it relevant for today. So, with that in mind, I'm just going to jump out and see if there's anybody that wants to comment on any history that they know of ham radio, or if anybody wants to just jump in and say hi.
And they're Nick, Can6CL from Can6BXX. Great presentation.
All right. I'm going to call on Servando. Servando, jump in and say hi to us, buddy. Turn that mic off. We want to hear what you're so smiley about.
K6SRV. I am smiley because I'm on the net. I'm with you guys, virtually, literally virtually. No, it just blew my mind that we basically had fiber optics in 1855. How come this isn't taught in school? That's what I want to know. K6SRV.
Everyone, there's a lot that wasn't taught in school for electronics. KG6 and LW. Oh, and it was Hurricane Maria.
We got you, Frank. Thanks for checking in. A little bit scratchy, but I heard you. Thanks for chiming in, KG6 and LW. This is Nick, KN6DAL. Who else is out there?
6 ETB.
KN6 ETB. Kellen, how's it going?
Good, real good. I just finished up a little side hustle. I caught the end of your conversation, and I don't know if you went over, but did you know Tesla was on the inner workings of initially starting how to do Morse with the other gentleman, Morris, and Marconi was the one that actually did the first communication, I think, from London to New York, and I think it was like 1805 or something.
I didn't know that he was involved in Morse. I touched on the beginning of his building history, but yeah, that's interesting. Back to you.
I think some of the early patents that Tesla had was initially the foundation. That's where Morris and Marconi came in to learn about the sparks creating a tone and radio frequency waves. But Tesla decided he was going to put all of his marbles into one basket and stick with his Tesla coil, which inevitably went nowhere. But yeah, had Marconi not taken up his patent and moved with it, we'd see Tesla as a leader of ham radio.
See, I should have had you come on and presented some history, because I'm far from a history buff, but I do think it's really interesting. So cool information. I appreciate it. Next station, who do we got out there?
K6RNL.
Greg, how you doing tonight? K6RNL.
Good, thanks for leading the anti-net. I guess my contribution to the interesting history we're talking about is that, at least what I read, was that the word ham began as an insult. So the professional radio operators in the early 1900s would complain that, quote, these hams are interfering and jamming everything. And whether they understood it or not, the amateur radio operators liked it, and so that's how we became known as ham radio, K6RNL.
Yep, we were kind of the black sheep of the radio world as we progressed. So very interesting. Next station, who do we got out there?
Checking in. Will in Walnut Creek.
Hey, Will, how's it going tonight?
Pretty good. Checking in through Mike's Echo Link. And then I guess I'm going to find a way to get in here RF-wise. So I've got to work on some 440 antennas, or I've got a 5-element beam that is damaged. I don't think the Ringo Ranger will get up into Vacaville. And then I understand all the Coco Fusion machines are digital only. So anyway, still working on all of that.
Well, you sound great tonight. Thanks for checking in. And let's move on to Justin. You want to chime in and say hi, Justin?
Yeah, KM6ZTH. You know, it's always fun to know where we came from, and it's funny to see how cyclical things are too. That's usually how we figure out how to advance things, right? We start looking back on how things worked, and that's where we get going. You know, it's very fascinating. I love the new stuff though, right? Because it's the familiar platforms that we're playing with. You know, so this idea of, wait, I can play in Wi-Fi, but it's different Wi-Fi than everybody else. So this kind of idea of mesh and stuff excites me. But it's important to know, I mean, let's face it, most anything that's digital is based on not Morse, but the idea of a tone, right? And on and off. So it's really cool to think about how all these things tie together and where we can take everything. It's great to hear folks out there, and love the comments coming back from everybody. KM6ZTH.
Awesome. Thanks for jumping in there, Justin. There was a comment on YouTube. I'll just mention Dale Palmer. I don't know your call sign, Dale, so if you could just throw it in the comments there. But he said an important ham historical incident occurred in 2000 during a freak solar storm when a young police officer was able to communicate with his fireman father, which ultimately ended up saving his life. So real cool. So thanks for that comment there, Dale Palmer. And let's see who else we got out there. KN6DAL calling for any stations.
You got KM6QFA out here, right around Maxwell right now, in the mobile. Just saying 73 to you guys. Enjoying what I'm hearing. Real interesting stuff.
Yeah, thanks for checking in. I think I got your call. The first part of it was clipped off. Is it KM6QSA?
Oh, Mike 6. Yeah, it's KM6 Quebec Foxtrot Alpha. You got Mike over here around Colusa County, mobile, up on the Highway 20 coming in from Lake County.
Right on, Mike. Thanks for checking in with us. We appreciate it. Next station, come on in.
Whiskey 4 Mike Alpha Fox, Richmond, Virginia.
And Woodland, California.
Okay, I had a double. First, we'll take W4MAF in Virginia.
Hey, Nick and everyone on the net. I just want to check in. It's a little late here, but it's been a while since I participated in the net. Enjoyed the presentation tonight. Yeah, I'm not so much of a historian knowing all the facts that you had recited there, but it was very interesting, and thanks for sharing. And I don't really have anything to add. I think there's so many things keeping this hobby active and relevant. There's a lot for everyone. I'm still overwhelmed with it. So just want to say hi. I hope you guys and gals have a nice evening. This is W4MAF in Richmond, Virginia, 73. Back to net control.
As always, a pleasure. Thanks for checking in with us, Mike. Next station was from Woodland. That didn't catch a call sign. You want to try that again?
Good evening, Nick and everybody. This is Dan, Kilo Foxtrot 6, Hotel in Woodland.
Hey, Dan, how you doing tonight? You got any history or anything interesting about ham radio you want to throw out there?
Yeah, I'm sitting here in the front room watching the big screen TV again. I can pick up YouTube, can't get any of the comments, and work on my HT, trying to figure out if this works okay, so I've got an alternative. As for the other stuff, I was one of the 5 word per minute generals, and I'm glad that they finally dropped the CW requirement. I think CW is fun. I'm still trying to learn it, but I struggle to get by at the 5 words per minute.
Well, 5 words per minute is 5 more words per minute than I know. But yeah, good luck with that. I need to work on that. I've been. It seems like Mike WG5EEK posted something in Discord the other day that talked about how you didn't even say anything and something popped up on a feed related to something that you were thinking about. And I feel like CW is all around me. No matter where I turn, it's just like popping up in front of me everywhere I go, like telling me, go learn it. So I need to get on that horse and ride it out for a little bit. But anyway, let's see who else we have out. Let's call on Mike. Mike, you got anything you want to add to the net?
Well, Mike here, WG5EEK. What did I post? Now I'm curious. I don't remember what spurred that, but that's okay. So I don't really have a whole lot. I've been out the last couple of weeks. Like this month of April is always busy for me because it's birthdays around the family and stuff. But I have been listening, and I really appreciate the history lesson that you gave, Nick. That was really informative. Like there's a lot of stuff in there that I hadn't heard before. So thanks for doing the research on that. That was fun. That was really cool. I don't have a lot going on really, except I'm moving like in like a month. So yeah, it's gonna be sad. So all these digital links, like we need to get something going because I need to stay in contact with you guys because I'm leaving the. Not only am I leaving the state, I'm leaving like the whole West Coast. So yeah, we need to get something going. I think Greg's got something going, and maybe Servando wants to participate in Will. He's a member of the VVR club, Vaca Valley Radio Club, and he's thinking about doing something too. So like we've got a lot of stuff brewing, but we need to make it happen because having contact with everybody here and having all these modes of communication here to get into the anti-net is really fun and critical. This is like my lifeline. This is what I live for, man. Like I need to have this in Arkansas where I'm moving to. So we gotta figure it out one way or the other. I just want to say thanks again, Nick, and everybody who participates in this anti-net. It's always fun, and I'm just glad to be here. So, I mean, that's it. That's all I got. Back to you, Nick. WG5EEK.
All right, this is Nick, KN60AL. Thanks, Mike. Anybody else out there that wants to chime in, come on in.
All you got to do now is set everything up just like it is here, but in Arkansas when you move.
November KF6 DGN, David from Canyon Lake, California.
All right, there was a little bit of a double, but I think I think it was Dave from Canyon Lake, California. You want to come back in with your call?
Yes, thank you. Kilo Foxtrot 6, Delta Golf November KF6 DGN, David from Canyon Lake, California. Great, interesting net tonight, history and radio. You can't beat that. Stumbled across Free Start and then your net tonight. So great net tonight. Awesome. History and radio. Can't beat it. Back to net control KF6 DGN.
Awesome. Appreciate you checking in tonight. I want to give one last round for, is there anybody out there that's a new operator, anybody that just got their call sign maybe in the last month or so, or just upgraded? It could be from technician to general, general to extra. If you've upgraded or you're a relatively new operator, come on in and say hi. It's like a whole group of advanced Elmers here. That's scary, right? Let's see who else we got out there. Connor, you want to jump in and say hi? Just shake it till it works. There you go.
All right. Am I on air?
You're air.
Okay. All right. K7 CBL Freddy. Thanks for doing the history talk there. Very informative. Learned a lot, but yeah, not much else to say there. K7 CBL.
All right. Thanks, Connor. Anybody else out there on the airwaves want to check in and say hi? Come on in now.
Good evening there, Nick, and great presentation. CAN6BXX Michael in Carmichael. A great little nutshell on the communications. Smoke signals to digital. That's awesome. Thank you very much. Yeah, I'm going to take off, guys. I'm not going to stick around for Zoom up for another couple days of busy work. So you guys take care of 7-3s. I'll catch you on Zoom another time. Thanks again, Nick. Great presentation. CAN6BXX, 7-3s to all.
All right, Michael. Thanks for checking in tonight, and good luck at work. Speaking of Zoom, we're going to post the Zoom link here in the chats pretty soon. If anybody wants to join in, we'll be hanging out for a little bit after the anti-net ends and talking, so everybody's welcome to come in if they'd like. Any other stations out there want to chime in?
November 0 Sierra Victor.
N0SV, come on in.
Yeah, this is N0SV. My name is Dan. I'm in Sunnyvale, California. I just wanted to check in. That's all. Thanks.
Yep, you sound good on the air tonight, Dan. Thanks for checking in. Next station, anybody?
Kilo November 6 Kilo India Echo. Checking in.
That would be Greg. How's it going tonight?
Hey, gentlemen, how are you? I've been able to watch, had a little party for my son tonight and was just enjoying the show in the background, and I wanted to give some support and say hi to everybody, man. Great to see y'all. You guys doing a great job, man. Love it.
Yep, we will see you next week, Greg. Thanks for chiming in. I think there was a post that said KWV might have been trying to chime in. Bobby Lee, are you out there?
Yep, KD6 KWV.
How are you doing tonight, Bobby Lee?
I'm doing great, buddy. Good job on the net tonight. You're sounding great. Everybody else is as well. You know, I have a quick little paragraph. Well, it's actually two little paragraphs I can read to you really quick that I've actually favored. And this is kind of how I explain to everybody where ham radio, the meaning ham actually really came from. And I'll read this to everybody real quick, or do my best anyway. I'm a horrible reader. But I'll read this if you'd like to hear it.
Absolutely. Take it away.
Okay. The word ham, as applied to 1908, was the station call of the first amateur wireless station operated by some amateurs of the Harvard Radio Club. They were Albert F. Hyman, Bob Alney, and Poogie Murray. At first, they called their station Hyman Alney Murray. Tapping out such a long name in code soon became tiresome and called for a revision. To HY-AL-MY, using the first two letters of each of their names. Early in 1901, some conclusions resulted between signal from amateur wireless station HY-ALMU and a Mexican ship named HY Alamo. They then decided to use only the first letter of each name, and the station call became ham. In the early pioneer days of unregulated... Oh man, I just... oh no. I just hit a button. Let's see, I got it back. I thought I was going to lose it. So we got to where they were calling the station ham. So in the early pioneer days of unregulated radio amateur operators, pick their own frequencies in their call letters. Then, as now, some amateurs have stations. The resulting interference came to the attention of the congressional committees in Washington, and Congress gave much time to propose legislation designated to critically limited amateur radio activity. Let me reset. In 1911, Albert Hyman chose the controversial wireless regulation bill as the topic for the thesis at Harvard. His instructor insisted that a copy be sent to Senator David L. Wash, a member of the hearing the bill. The senator was so impressed with the thesis that he asked Hyman to appear before the committee. Albert Hyman took the stand and described how the little station was built and almost cried when he told the crowded committee room that if the bill went through, they would have to close down the station because they could not afford the license fee and all the other requirements which the bill imposed on amateur stations. Congressional debate began on the wireless regulation bill, and the little ham, we reset. Congressional debate began on the wireless regulation bill, and the little station ham, in parentheses, became the symbol for all of the little amateur stations in the country crying to be saved from the menace and greed of the big commercial stations who didn't want them around. The bill finally got to the floor of Congress, and every speaker talked about the quote-unquote poor little station ham. That's how it all started. You can find the whole story in the congressional record, nationwide, publicly associated station ham with amateur radio operators from that day to this, and probably until the end of time in radio. An amateur is a ham. This is 86KWV. Good to hear everybody on.
Well, thanks for that, Bobby Lee. I appreciate you coming in and saying hi and sharing a little bit of wisdom in the background. It's always fun to get people kind of doing their own digging and finding more information out. So really appreciate that. Let's see if we got anybody else out there before we move over to Zoom. We got people in the waiting room we're going to be letting in pretty soon. Any last calls on check-ins before we drop the anti-net off of the repeaters and move over to Zoom? Come on in now.
W0GLP, AO, Nashville. Check it in.
All right, we had two stations there. I had W0GOP, I believe, and then I think we had KN6HLK. So let's take Dale first. Go ahead.
This is W0DLB. I figured I'd better show my face after that that reference to the Frequency movie. So figured I'd check in, and I'll sit in the waiting room on Zoom.
Yeah, we're gonna call that timeout for you, bud. No, it's my fault. I showed the fact that I've never watched that movie, obviously, and everybody's gonna go, "Oh no, what? You're a ham radio operator? You've never seen that?" I didn't even know that it existed until like a couple months ago. So I'll put it on my to-do list. Thanks for checking in, Dale. And then next we've got I believe it was KN6HLK, Gary.
Roger, thank you. KN6HLK. Yeah, just checking in and enjoy listening to all the history tonight. Thank you, Bobby Lee. I really enjoyed that part too.
All right, thanks for checking in, Gary. And it looks like we got just a couple more minutes left. Any last calls before we switch over to Zoom?
Heard me about a few minutes ago. This is Can6BX6, Michael from Carmichael. Great presentation. I'll have to bed soon, so I'm going to have to zoom out. We'll catch you again later. And thanks for last week's presentation. Well, my gift, and I'll be waiting for it, and we'll go from there. Thanks again, Nick and the gang. Can6BX6, step 3.
And Michael, you're a perfect example of what ham radio operators do. Every time they say bye, you have to say 7-3 at least a couple times before you leave. I totally understand. Any last people out there that want to check in before we go?
Well, gee, Phil Vacaville. Just checking in. As already said, a lot of information there. Thank you.
All right, thanks for checking in, Phil. My last question for everybody, is there anybody out there that knows what 88s mean? Smooch, smooch, that's right. All right, well, I think that's enough for tonight. We're gonna move over to Zoom. So anybody that wants to join in, Connor dropped a link in the YouTube chat a couple of different times. Anybody's welcome to join. So for now, I will say 73 and 88s to everybody. Hope you all have a great night, and we'll put the repeaters back to regular use, except for you, Servando. You get no 88s. 7-3, KN6DAL will be clear.
Oh, boy. That was good.
Yeah, man, that was some good history, man. Like, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I learned a lot, Nick.
And cut. That's the trailer.
I thought it was so funny. Tonight. I was reading through the comments after I had read the thing from Dale. I'm like, I got duped. I've never seen the movie, so I had no idea, no way to know. And I'm sure everybody in the background was just like, oh no, he didn't. But I think
Dale Palmer.
I think that's hilarious. Dale, you're fired. Wait, you're hired, and now you're fired.
You're hired and fired. You've been 86th.
Yep.
No.
Got to keep the codes going. W1FRD's joining. He's connecting to audio, everyone.
He's trying. He's trying so hard.
He's trying.
So, Nick, how early were you reading everything? Because I thought I saw a couple of, like, smirks that got suppressed halfway through your talk there.
Yeah.
Did you just look over at the chat a couple of times?
Oh yeah, no, you guys were just busting up, and you guys were going off about a bunch of different, and I thought I feel like it was somebody else. I didn't have a chance to read through everything, or it could have just been me. Was I being hilarious?
No.
Or was it Servando?
I add a certain je ne sais quoi to the. That's all I got, dude. I don't know anything, so I gotta do something.
My favorite anti-nets are when everybody's having a good time and laughing their butt off. So I could care less. I thought it was funny.
Nick's bald.
Yeah, I kept looking back over, and the whole coordinator group is just busting up laughing, and I'm just like, oh gosh, I'm either butchering it.
Hey, I gotta tell you, dude. I didn't know you were like bald, dude. Like not.
Yeah.
You're
well,
bald.
I just shaved my head this morning.
You did?
Yeah.
Yeah, me too, dude. Look.
You look fantastic.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Dude,
keep going.
Hair's overrated, man.
Yeah.
No, he's got like the 60s.
No, because if I take the hat, the hat off, dude, I look like some cholo bato, dude.
No,
you know,
I'm literally okay. So I'm so bald. It's
All
probably okay. Watch my camera. It'll probably auto adjust when I take my hat off.
Yeah. It adjusts the brightness. Yeah, look, it's gonna dim it.
Holy
oh yeah, there you go. There you go.
I didn't know we had powder in the chat.
Oh, dang.
Are they hiring for Mr. Clean again?
Yeah.
Keep them coming.
Yeah, that's what we call in photography, clipping the highlights, bud. What's going on with Fred? What's going on with his audio situation here?
Yeah, let's work on this. Come on, Fred. He's probably on his phone.
Do we need
Probably send him a microwave link that's a bit
make
faster.
a wish?
His Tesla coil might not be working.
Internet.
Hey, you want to talk about iconic call sign and like style? Fred, every time he comes on, like there's no denying it. Like, yeah, I don't care if you even heard what he said.
You
can
couldn't
just
forget
tell it's
him.
Fred. No,
you will
cannot.
never be able to forget him if you wanted
You
to.
cannot.
You
can't.
could not hear that call sign and then wait 15 years of your life, come back and hear it one time, and you go, "That's Fred."
Oh,
You
that's
know
Fred.
for a
That's
fact
Fred.
there's no way to get rid of it. It's
Yeah.
etched into your brain.
Yep. Fred's got it down, man. Yeah. Yeah, even my lady's like, "Oh, that's Fred." I'm like, "How do you know this? You've never even seen him. You don't know who he is."
You sure?
Fred.
It's a long commute to San Jose.
Sancho.
KA3VDT. What's your name? I don't know if you got your audio going.
Click your audio on. You're muted. Sorry.
Yeah,
There we
yeah,
go.
there you go.
There you
Has
go.
that got it?
Yeah,
you got
how's
it.
it going tonight?
Good, good.
Identify yourself.
Will, KA3BDT.
Will.
How you doing?
Good. So I'm still trying to get in on RF, but going on a Mike's Echo link was good enough.
Oh yeah. Where are you transmitting from? What's the QTH?
Let me turn up my audio. I'm down in Walnut Creek, so
Oh, Walnut Creek. Oh, okay. You should be able to hit it. Yeah.
I've got 25 watts on an old realistic mobile, but my Kenwood 7950 has no tone board, so I'm working on that. So that kind of limits me. You know?
I don't even know what that means. I'm gonna assume that you're not able to do what you want to do. That's what that means.
Yeah. So the old Kenwood is like it's a tank, but it was built in like 80s, and hardly any repeaters had tones back then. And when you had it, you could select 3 off of a tone board if you bought the tone board, which is like
Gotcha.
$80 now. You could buy a whole radio for $89.
No doubt. Yeah.
You can buy like 20 Baofengs for $80.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, I was hoping Kellen would come on. He finally got. I was over at his house on was it yesterday for Taco Tuesday, and he got his radio, his little PYT. He's got it mounted to his bike, and he has his mic set up and everything all dialed and ready to go. So it's pretty cool. And it's kind of cool seeing a dirt bike with a 2-meter 440 antenna on the back. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. I plan on putting one on a riding lawnmower when I get home, so.
Yes.
Post some pictures.
You're gonna King of the Hill it?
Yes.
Yeah. Dude, I keep telling my girl that I want a riding lawnmower, even though we have like a lawn like this big, but I still want to do it. I don't know.
You just want to park it in the middle and sit.
I want to ride it.
Okay,
yeah.
done.
I want to ride it to the store. I live in the wrong neighborhood, honestly.
You just want it for the beer holder, right? Like that's
Exactly.
The whole point.
Yeah.
There you go.
Somebody needs to cut and paste him onto a John Deere or something.
Down there.
Old call sign would be perfect for that. Have the beer on the lawn, ride on lawnmower.
Somebody said that Kellen got a TYT mounted to his dirt bike.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, he's got the.
That's crazy. I just got this TYT somebody left on a dirt bike. It's just crazy.
Oh, he just posted in Discord. Somebody stole his radio. That's too bad.
No leads. No leads.
No leads.
Yeah, no leads. You're helping out. You're helping out. Yeah, hey, so kind of embarrassed, but I just found out recently what 88 was. I didn't know. I was like, 73, and I looked it up, and I was like, 88.
Wait, did you find out recently, like 4 minutes ago? Because we just discussed it.
No, I brought it up in the chat because I was like, "Hey, ask if anyone knows what 88 is." But apparently, I'm the only one that didn't know. Yeah, so.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
No, we all
someone
know.
came back and was like, "Oh yeah, kisses." Like I was like, "Oh okay."
Yeah,
I guess people use it in secret.
I think it's actually supposed to be like send your love kind of thing. Like, and so we sort of adopted at the end of the anti-net for a while. We were just like 88s to everybody because we're cool enough to do that. So feel free to use it at your own discretion, Servando.
For the tens of viewers, so yeah.
Yeah.
Hitting double digits tonight. Still got 20 right now. 20. Somehow people want to listen to us talk.
Fred,
come join us. Come join us in Zoom. Have fun.
Yeah. Hey, Fred must be on McDonald Wi-Fi or something.
Well, I was having problems today on T-Mobile, so I don't know what he's got, but yeah, I was having issues.
Hey, Nick, I just want to point something out. We can't see you on the stream.
Oh, yeah, I need to
You turned off your face cam in the bottom, so might as well just leave it on.
Yeah.
I'm just going to turn myself on in here.
Have fun. Show self-view. Show self-view.
Yeah, I know how to do it. Give me just a minute.
Oh.
Anybody got anything crazy that they're working on? Any exciting stuff? Anything new going on?
We're watching filler.
I
just
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I just took down a 48-foot tower in Brentwood. Guy had to move.
48 foot. Nice.
Yeah, there was the guy that's visiting. I said, hey, this guy's having a yard sale, but it's all ham gear. So I sent him over there like 2 Fridays ago, and the owner was like, you take the tower down, you can have all the antennas. There's like an array of 2 meter 5-element beams, some 440 beams.
Wow.
Yeah, like a 2.4 gigahertz parabolic direction finder on a rotor.
Holy smokes, that ham was serious.
He was, yeah. And he's talking about interferometry. Their beams are aligned and stuff. So I don't even know anything about that. I don't know. But they're complete on their mounts.
So are you setting that up? Are you going to have a new 48-foot tower now? Is that what that means?
We had to grind it off. So we lost about 2 feet in the bottom section. But this is
that's okay.
It was made by Rome, but now it's like another company that does it. It's like the THBX. It's heavy duty, self-supporting. It's like 24 inches across the base triangle.
Oh, so 24 inches?
Yeah, it's massive.
That's huge. That's huge.
So
yeah, I know you can get the prints for the Rones still online. I know they're out there for the old Rones, and then you can get you can even get bases and stuff. There's a lot of people out there that make the bases that
they
go
just cemented this. They just poured it in concrete. So I need to know how big this thing was on, like a 3 foot by 3 foot base that must have gone 4 feet in the ground or so.
Yeah.
So I've got to, but it was, I'm 59. I climbed up about halfway. We rented a boom thing from the rental place at Antioch.
Yeah.
It was kind of a cluster to get it, but anyway, we got it in the yard and took it down. It was about a 2-day adventure, but it was, it was a free tower, free antennas.
Hey, good for you. I know. Yeah. I know there's a lot of people. Don't tell too many people. You're going to ruffle some feathers here. You're going to make people sad. Yeah. With steel prices going up. Go ahead, Nick.
Oh, I was just going to say you were asking about projects and stuff. And I figured out a way to put my G90 temporarily in my truck so that I can pull it out and I'm gonna
show it off.
Yeah, so I just did it so that I could put it in and take it out really quickly because I use that primarily for like going up to a mountaintop or whatever, and I want to be able to pull it out of my truck, and it's got a detachable faceplate, so you can literally just like pull it off and plug it back in, and it's ready to rock. So I've been playing around with HF Mobile for the first time. Haven't been super successful yet, but I'm working out the kinks. So,
you think it's a grounding thing, or what? What do you think?
I think a majority of it is the antenna that I'm using. I'm using a really inexpensive all-band antenna. Hey, Rick, and it's an OPEC 400. It's like it's got a jumper that you can place for different bands.
Oh, okay. Oh,
and
cool.
I can actually receive okay. I'm hearing stations, but I'm also only running 20 watts, so I'm not able to I haven't had any confirmed QSOs yet, mobile, but it's only been 2 days, and I don't drive very far, so I haven't really
looks
had time
good.
to
I
play
saw
with
the
it yet.
I saw the pictures. But you know what they say? Any antenna is better than no antenna. So
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. Rick, what you got going on? What do you got for us?
Let's see. Last week I was in Las Vegas with Vivian, and we didn't do much gambling, but left a lot there for hotel and meals and attractions. So we had a lot of fun. We were there for 4 days and just
Wow,
celebrating
nice.
both of us getting our COVID shots and being able to travel again.
There you go. Nice. Yeah, I'm not much of a gambling man myself, but it's still kind of fun to be in the mix. Yeah, that's awesome.
You know, one thing I have to say, one of the highlights that is electrical, that's why I'll share this, is I don't know if any of you have ever heard of Fremont Street there, but it has the world's largest LED display. It's 90 feet high, 90 feet wide, and over the mall for 1,400 feet. And they got animated shows going on this thing and everything. In 2020, it went through a $32 million upgrade. That's just what it costs to upgrade this display.
Holy smokes. That's nearly a quarter mile.
Yeah, it's 90 feet wide, 90 feet up, and it's just over this, street, many blocks of streets on both sides. It's really something.
And what's the RFI like?
Yeah. Yeah, with LEDs, God. Yeah.
It's gotta be
You're
a
probably-
horrible place to be a ham,
Yeah.
like, man.
Yeah.
You pull out an HT and it just explodes in your hand.
Yeah. It's funny. It's funny being a ham. It kind of changes the way you view things, because I'm driving back from San Jose, and there's this little spot where there's these homes, and then it's like super open right behind it. I'm like, oh God, man, the noise floor has got to be so good right there. And then like literally like a half mile, there's like a solar farm right there. I'm like, ooh, I would not want to be a ham near those solar panels. And it's kind of weird now. I'm kind of damaged, actually. I can't see things the same anymore.
So, hey Rick, where's your place? I'm looking at your QSL. You had your QSL card with your whole call in what is it? Wise Park Avenue. Where's that? Walnut Creek. That's where I am.
Where is White Park Avenue in Walnut Creek?
Yeah. Yeah.
Olympic Boulevard, Del Valle High School.
Okay. Yeah. Off Olympic. Gotcha.
Yeah, I went to Del Valle High School when it was open, and now it's Rossmore Adult Community surrounded it and took it over.
Okay. Gotcha. Thanks.
Hey, I can share this LED display. Can I run a video here, Nick?
Yeah.
Let me try this, see if I can share my screen.
It should
I've
let
got
you
some
know.
stuff I gotta do, so I gotta take off. So it's good chatting with you guys. But
All right, Connor, have a good night.
Take care, buddy.
Connor.
Make safe choices.
Just say no.
Here we go.
Oh, they got. Oh, cool.
That's not what I envisioned at all. That is crazy.
Okay.
That's crazy, man.
Nice. You got Lil Wayne playing in the background. That's cool.
Is that who that is? I don't know those people.
I have no idea. I made
Oh.
that up. I stopped being cool. I stopped being cool like 15 years ago. Yeah.
I'm not hip with the game.
No, I've
Anyway, it
accepted
was a
my.
nice trip.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So you said it was Fremont Street or Fremont Boulevard?
Fremont Street. It's
Fremont
old
Street.
Las Vegas. This is what used to be old, the Strip and stuff. Now it's stores and things. And it's we got bus passes, so we could just go around, and that's at the north part of up north of the Strip.
That's awesome. I just recently went to Vegas for the first time. I wasn't impressed. I was with Shania Twain on that one. I wasn't impressed much, but I would definitely be impressed by that Fremont Street. I like that. I gotta go check that out. Justin, you didn't like my Shania Twain reference? Wow.
We
got
did
it. That was
see,
fun.
we saw David Copperfield. That was pretty fun. and
Nice.
also this extravaganza, almost like Cirque du Soleil. But
Did he make all your money disappear?
yeah, they did.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I
Yeah.
say, we didn't gamble, but we left plenty of money there.
Yeah. No, you supported the cause, that's for sure. W1FRD lost, huh? He's gone.
He
He
Try
said,
number
"Screw this."
Try number 2 failed.
Yeah, I'm gonna make fun of him next time I hear him on the air. I'm like, dude, you're a S9 plus 10 on the air, but you're like, dude, you're in the dumps on the Zoom. Bert, what's going on, man?
Not much.
What are you doing, dude? What did you pick up at the swap meet? Did you get anything?
I got what I get? I got an O-scope, like a Tektronix 465 from Bruce.
Oh, nice.
Check it out, dude. Oh, I just got a new power supply. Yeah. 40,
There you go.
$40. It was brand new in the box.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, you can't beat that, dude. And then I saw it online the next day. It was $160 or something like that. I was like, dude, I made out.
I also went off with 100 feet of that LMR cable that he was selling.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Nice.
I was just like, oh, I gotta do it. There's no place else is gonna be cheaper than that.
Yeah. I found a guy on Craigslist, actually Kellen, was like, hey man, this guy's selling, LMR 400, like the real deal, like it's real stuff. He was selling it for like super cheap. It was like a 250 some odd feet. He was selling it for $100, right? So I called him. I was like, hey man, I'll take that off of you. I'm working in San Jose. And then the next day, the day before I was supposed to pick it up, he sends me a text at 9 p.m. Hey, he said, hey, I just got a 40-meter dipole. I'm actually not selling the cable. And I was like, all right, dude.
True. What's up, Will? We can hear you. We can't see you.
Oh,
there we go. Unmute. I'm just.
There you go.
Oh, here. I don't know what happened.
Well, I muted you because I thought you were talking to somebody else.
Oh, maybe my kids are here. They're doing some Zoom stuff too. Yeah, I got a spool. Of LMR. I don't have to see how much is there. So if somebody still wants some of that, but there's another guy I saw, and he's got some sort of old Heliax. It's like an inch in diameter. I don't know anything about that. He wants to scrap it. I'm like, wait a second.
Heliax?
So,
that sounds like something you go to the doctor for.
Yeah, right. It is like an oozing condition. No.
Yeah.
No, it's like hard. It's like
hardline.
Hardline on steroids.
Yeah.
About an inch in diameter. The stuff you put air through it. Yeah, it's about $8 a foot.
Yeah.
So Servando, you're looking for more comics?
I was going to say, what's your name, VDT?
Will.
Do you live in Walnut Creek?
Yeah, now, yeah.
Oh, really? Well, if you know,
that's why I asked you.
If you know where Dewing Park Swim Club, I lived right next door to it. That's where I was on their swim team from age 8 to 18 and did swimming pool maintenance. And
isn't that right off of Olympic?
Yeah. Yes.
I've seen it. I've gone by there, cutting through to like Lafayette or going to Rossmore and stuff. But I live by Pleasant Hill Bar.
Okay.
Off of like Treat and Cherry.
Yeah.
Up on the north side. Yeah, somewhere up in there.
I can get that close. Yeah. Yeah, the way I found out about this group was I got a hotspot, and I noticed there was a Contra Costa group, whatever, Contra Costa node, and I just called it and said, yeah, I used to live there, and it was Sandy, I think is her name.
Sandy, yeah. GHT, I think.
I found out about this group, and also this is kind of me plugging into my roots when I.
Nice.
Well, I was researching digital modes and stuff, and actually I found Chris's site. I found Chris. I looked him up on QRZ CMB, and it was just something I was going to write him, and then last week we had a memorial, and But yeah, that was just me searching digital, and I just set up an APRS receiver, so I'm connected to the internet, but my sound card on this little computer wasn't working. So I got an external sound card, a little USB dongle, and trying to do that. I mean, I'm sitting here, how did Rick share a video? How does Sorondo have like the green screen? You know, I'm like totally illiterate as far as this stuff goes.
Hey, it's all smoke and mirrors. I literally don't know what I'm doing. Like this right here, it's not even a real green screen. See how it like chops my arm off?
Yeah.
It's literally the Zoom. What do you call it? The Zoom
virtual background.
Help me out. Yeah. The whatever the technical.
I'm
term
looking
is
under
for
the
it.
more. I don't see. I'm just doing it on the web. So I think if I joined Zoom and had an app, then it would work. I'd have more options.
So it sounds like, Will, it sounds like you set up an iGate at your house, right? For
what?
APRS, you set up an iGate, like just a
yeah,
for
and so I'm
APRS.
just gonna have a scanner hooked up, and then it'll pass through. But right now you can go on there and see me, but it's not transmitting anything.
Okay.
So yeah, I want to hook up the sound card to a scanner, and
Got
then
it.
just forward information that everybody else is doing, because I have no digital modes at all.
Yeah, I downloaded Direwolf. I haven't set up anything. I just got a different laptop and I got it set up with my G90 to do FT8. I'm not a huge FT8 guy, but I like the ability to do it, even though I don't really all that much. For one reason, honestly, when I come down to field day, I want to be able to fit the bill of whatever anybody needs as far as the club. If they need someone to do FT8, I want to be capable of doing it. So I got that all set up, but I've yet to do an APRS iGate, and I'm interested in doing that and seeing how it works. But I also saw, Bert, you had posted, or you just showed us a picture of your you had a Balun up there of some kind or something. What do you got there?
Oh, nice. Did you make that?
That's doubled up.
So I tripled it.
Tripled?
It's triple toroids on there.
It's a 49-1 Unen or Balun? Unen. Unbalanced to unbalanced.
I hope.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed.
God.
I need to find a box that'll go in.
Do you have a capacitor for it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I have like a box of capacitors.
Hey, how's it going?
Yeah.
What's it called? These things.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Cool, man.
Hopefully it'll work.
Do you guys know who Electric Boom is on YouTube?
No.
Oh god, dude, I've been stuck on his videos watching him make like crazy things and like piecing stuff. I'm trying to study for this extra stuff, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
We didn't
cool.
see the book. Hold it up so it's still. Cool. Go get it.
It's pretty cool, dude. The satellite rotational axial rotations and like that, it just is really super interesting, dude.
Yeah.
How
That's
like you gotta.
Yeah, that's the thing about this hobby is like and I've said this before, I haven't said it in a while, but one of the things that I always think about is like it's always got me on the very fringes of my capability, like all the time. Like I'm constantly thinking about stuff that I just barely am starting to understand. Like the way the ionosphere actually works is like, and just trying to visualize it, or I guess sort of dumb it down so that I understand it. And to me, in my mind, the way it works, it almost works like it almost works like a piece of coax up in the sky, kind of, where the way the electrons break apart and it creates this layer of reflection. It's just really cool, There's so many different parts of this hobby that are way beyond what I understand, that it's just fun because every day it's like something new you learn,
Yeah. It's funny you mentioned that because I watch a lot of like YouTube videos. So like I'm watching my 6-month-old daughter at the house a lot of times, right? So I'll play a YouTube video and a lot of these guys like was it OG, the Kessler guy? He ain't no spring chicken, right? Well, my lady was like, why is everyone that you're watching like super old? And I was like, babe, that's because that's how long it takes before you get comfortable enough to talk about what you're doing. that's how long it takes. That's why all these guys are super ancient. There's so much to learn. Like as soon as you get something, you're like, oh, what's this over here? Oh, and another rabbit hole. And now you're down this rabbit hole, dude. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Right now I'm stuck on the whole HF thing, and I freaking love it. I'm so glad I generaled out. HF is the best. It's the best.
Yeah.
Dude,
HF is a ton of fun. You never know. Like, so when I was testing out the G90 in the truck, I was hearing people in like Iowa and Montana and stuff.
Yeah.
And, that's nothing now at my house, but you get out with a super compromised antenna driving down the road and you're like, wait a minute, just the reality of that sets in, and it's new every time. It's super exciting. So I really like seeing your enthusiasm with stuff like that. That's super cool to see.
It's fun. It's like fishing. It's almost like fishing. You know what I mean? You got your bait.
You gotta get your license,
dude. Yeah, it's like you could have the most trick pen, reel, everything, ball bearing, oil. You could have the most tricked out radio / reel, right? But it doesn't mean anything, dude. You got to know how to use it. And then it's like you go out there, you cast, and you see what you catch, and then it's fun. It's fun. HF is so fun.
See, my experience with fishing is it doesn't matter what I do. A 6-year-old will come stand right next to me and catch a bigger fish. So that's my life.
Yep. Hey, big bait, big fish, dude. You got to go with a 14-ounce ribeye.
Throw one in every cast.
That's
multiple hooks.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Hey, I've got something for you. You mentioned the ionosphere, and I have given a talk on satellite orbits. It's something that I'm kind of into, is satellites. But here's a little interesting thing that helps me keep things to scale. And part of my talk, I say, okay, imagine the Earth is 12 inches, so a 12-inch globe. Low Earth orbit satellites are 0.3 inches off of the surface of the Earth. That's all the higher you have to go. So when you picture the atmosphere, it's all well under 0.3 inches, from on a 1-inch globe.
Right.
It's almost nothing.
Yeah.
And then the ionosphere is out there, and you can kind of think of it now as this shell around the Earth where things just kind of go bounce, 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 bounce. There's really not much distance, and it just bounces up and down as it goes around the 12-inch ball. And it's really hard, almost no area all around the Earth.
That's a good analogy.
It's really thin. At a 1-foot Earth, it's 0.3 inches.
Yeah, you put that in that perspective, it's like, what are we actually doing here? Like, what?
So it's like a built-in waveguide for everything.
Like a broken waveguide?
No, a built-in waveguide.
Yeah.
Like it just bounces off of stuff. So
yeah.
It's got the Earth on the bottom and the ionosphere above, and it just kind of it's a pretty contained channel. We think
that's interesting. You say
huge
that
area, but no, it's just a little thin sliver.
Yeah,
you gotta think of it also as like the pebble skipping over the water kind of thing too.
Yeah,
you gotta get the angle just right so it doesn't go through the water and just plop down. And it's like, you're just bouncing that all the way down.
Good old ham radio, man. There's something for everyone. That's the thing. Different strokes for different folks, and there's enough to go around for everyone, man. Like me personally, I can't get behind FT8. I don't see what people find so appealing about it. You're just set it and forget it. Have robots doing things for you. But
it's the concept of the digital capability of HF radio, right? And so that's where it becomes useful. It's not as much, and you can get your signal out a really long way,
Yeah,
with a relatively low amount of power, and so it has its benefits, it has its usefulness, but for me, I like the ability to talk. I like to just jab and just have a conversation, and so his voice is where it's at for me, and that's why like CW will work for me in my mind, because I still have that ability I'm actually communicating back and forth instead of just having something do it for me. So I agree with you to some degree, but I think there is a usefulness in it.
CW is so interesting to me. I honestly don't see myself like getting into it anytime soon, but CW, it just feels so personal. You know what I mean? Like, you're like, oh, you hear it and you're like, oh, I know what he's saying. Like, it's just us. We know what we're saying. And then like, if someone responds back, like, Bert, have you had anybody respond back to your CW?
I haven't gone out yet.
You haven't gone out?
It's like I've tried it once, and then all I hear is, did it, did it. I was like, oh man.
What does that mean?
That's just question mark. I was like, oh man.
Hey, I'd be happy
Just
with
turn
that.
the radio off. I'm done. That's awesome. Hey, I'm gonna say good night to YouTube. So everybody wave goodbye. We'll see you guys all next week. Hope you have a great week.
There you